So how do you escape the matrix? Well, you don't. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. But you see, escaping the matrix isn't what many people think. When they think about escaping the matrix, they think about Andrew Tate's advice about the matrix or acquiring as much wealth as possible.
Our graves end up next to each other. Everyone's gonna read my headstone and ignore yours because you're average.
But what if I was to tell you it requires a lot more self-discipline rather than material things of the world to escape the matrix? As a matter of fact, money isn't a necessity. All you need is the right mindset, and I'll tell you why. But first and foremost, let's talk about what the matrix is and consists of. The matrix is all around us. It's in the food we eat, the water we drink, the very air we breathe in, the grass we walk on, the friends we befriend, the beautiful lady in the red. Yep, seen that one before. The matrix is a lot more than that actually. I mean, it is a set of rules you have to abide by in the physical world. Now, do you get the message? Do you see how hard it can be to escape the matrix? This isn't about being financially free, although that helps.
Well, what color's your bouquet?
As a matter of fact, scratch that. Being financially free can be asking for trouble too, because once you obtain that amount of wealth, all the negative thoughts, processes and ideologies you've been waiting to implement, well, guess what? Now you can. And that is not to say you can't do good with an abundance of wealth. But we as human beings, let's be honest here, majority of us have not been brought up to be selfless. We've been brought up in a highly competitive world. So we have to be alert at all times because we live in a ruthless world and you cannot be all love and light in a ruthless world. You'll be obliterated. We have been brought up to conquer each other, to be savage or be ravaged, use or be used. We haven't got a clue what life is all about. Now, the reason why I said money isn't a necessity is simply the matrix is a mindset which still connects to the physical world. And those who have power over their minds, for example, the monks of the Fiji Islands, they've escaped the matrix, or rather, they're on the verge of escaping the matrix. You can put them anywhere in the world and they will survive. You can lock them up in a cell and they'll meditate themselves right out of it because perception is all that counts at the end of the day. For the average Joe who hasn't got that type of mentality, there's hope. Because I know for a fact I'm the average Joe Schmo. And the only other alternative is to move off grid because I simply cannot handle the distractions and triggers this toxic matrix has to offer. But am I ready for that mentally? Because it still involves you mentally living by yourself or with your family away from society. It's not at all easy, but in the long run, it will be highly beneficial for your spiritual growth and independence as a whole. Physically leaving the matrix, you have to live off grid, which most people simply can't do. We rely so much on them, however, that's not the only reason why it would be hard to live off grid. Another reason is the attention we crave as human beings. Human beings are social creatures who need attention to feel loved and cared for. We're so scared to get out of our comfort zones and go in search of a better life by all means necessary. And us being natural social beings, I can understand why majority of us will struggle to go off grid. But what needs to be done, and properly too. But wait, there's one other alternative for those who are struggling to go off grid. You have got to watch the energy all around you and be very careful, as we are what we are embodied by. No one said living the matrix would be easy. As a matter of fact, an individual managed to ascend from 3D to 5D without death being involved, which was and still is literally unthinkable and hard to comprehend. His name was Buddha, and we'll be covering his story in another video, so be on the lookout for it. Now, this is by far the most important point I have made so far, so please, I urge you to pay attention. The most important deed to be done to leave this matrix is you have to kill the ego. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean to kill the ego? By killing the ego, I don't mean stop being confident or stop feeling good about yourself and so on and so forth. But killing the ego simply means getting rid of ideologies that keeps us trapped and stops us from connecting with one another as well as our higher selves, which in the long term can be very detrimental to our planetary ascension. Examples of things we need to get rid of to leave the matrix mentally first, because we will be talking about the physical in a moment. Mentally, you have to get rid of the idea of religion, ethnicity, countries, social inequality, etc. These things are human-made concepts, and when looked at from a 3D point of view, don't seem as dangerous, or I would even argue it can be very helpful in some situations that can bring people together, but unfortunately there's a cap on it. And from the grand scheme of things, they can be seen as very dangerous because they are being used to manipulate our consciousness by the cabal and the puppets. Cultures and traditions are beautiful and exquisite, but also you have to ask yourself, is there a reason why the world just can't seem to come together and unite for peace and create a change? Why the mental health of society as a whole is dwindling rapidly? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about religion briefly, because I was raised in a Christian household myself, and my dad's side of the family happened to be Muslim. My mom's Christian. Religion is very similar to spirituality. You are tapping into a higher realm by praying, worshipping, praising whichever deity you consider to be your god. As a matter of fact, being a religious person has a lot of advantages, which people seem to have no problem talking about, but the disadvantages always seem controversial, and a lot of people seem to shy away from talking about it. I understand how hard it can be to live a religion, as you are seen and judged by your religious community, even to the point of being looked at as a betrayal to the family, which most religions either look at one another as or actually are family connected by blood. However, it is important to know that you are on your own individual spiritual journey, and what makes sense to you sometimes might not make sense to those around you, because they might not have evolved as consciously as you have spiritually to be able to comprehend this complex matrix. So it is very paramount to avoid being guilt-tripped or feared into staying in a space in which you don't want to. The choice is yours at the end of the day, no others as it should be. We are extremely powerful entities who constantly give away our power to higher forces because we're still dwelling in a victim mentality that someone is going to come save us. But no one will save us from this chaos but ourselves. After all, we control our own perception. We are electricity, we are energy, and just like the scientists have proven, and most will definitely agree with me on this, energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transferred, which makes us immortals, technically and spiritually. This globber of meat, or shall I say this avatar we carry about in our physical state, because we need one in order for us to come into the physical and dualistic world, come into this physical and dualistic world. This isn't the real us. We're simply renting this body, hence why when we die, we don't take it with us, but our soul, energy, frequency and vibration, consciousness stays with us. That's the real us. In order for us to leave this matrix, 3D matrix to be exact, we have to realize that we're a lot more than our eyes can see, our tongues can taste, our ears can hear, our hands can feel, and that a lot more is happening above and most importantly, beneath the surface. Escaping this matrix isn't easy. For us to escape it, we need to know where we are and what we're dealing with. And notice I said we, because I myself, I'm still trying to escape this matrix. Now, what if I was to tell you that us as human beings are cattle on a farm, and we're living in a farm planet? This next video will help you comprehend what I'm talking about. And if this information resonates with you, please click on the subscribe button, like, share, and comment on the video. And let's push this message out there. Thank you, and one love.